The story begins with a 55-year-old woman named Nancy. Once a religious studies teacher, she is now retired and living alone. Though she was married for 31 years, Nancy never truly experienced satisfaction in bed. After losing her husband 2 years ago, she finally decides to fulfill a deeply personal and long-suppressed desire. To do this, Nancy books a hotel room and hires a male escort. The young man, named Leo, is 21 years old, handsome, confident, and well-spoken. When he arrives at the hotel room, Nancy is visibly impressed by his personality and charm. However, despite her intentions, she feels extremely self-conscious. Her age, her body, and her past as a moral educator weigh heavily on her. She fears she might look too old, too unattractive, and that Leo may find her undesirable. Nancy also struggles with guilt. After all, she once taught students about values and ethics. What she's about to do now seems contradictory to everything she believed in. But Leo doesn't judge her. He remains calm, kind, and professional. He listens to her fears and gently encourages her to speak openly. Nancy explains that during her entire married life, she never felt sexually fulfilled. Her husband passed away 2 years ago. Now, her children are grown, settled in their own lives, and she is finally free, retired, alone, and yearning to experience something she never had the courage to seek before: true physical intimacy. But even with that desire burning inside her, Nancy hesitates. She feels embarrassed, nervous, and still, part of her just wants to get it over with quickly. Leo reassures her. He tells Nancy that she has nothing to be ashamed of. He shares that he has been with older women before, and that age doesn't matter. His gentle tone gives Nancy some comfort. He leans in and kisses her softly, but it doesn't feel quite right. Nancy abruptly gets up and excuses herself to the bathroom. After taking a few moments to compose herself, she returns to the room and lies down on the bed. Then, after a long pause, she looks at Leo and says, "I'll still pay you, but I don't want to do anything. You can leave now." Leo is confused. "If you didn't want to do anything, then why did you book me?" he asks. "I don't know," Nancy replies. "I've changed my mind." Leo tries to understand. "You made this decision with a lot of thought. You wanted this. What changed? Is it because you don't like me?" "No," she says. "You're actually quite lovely." Leo pauses, then speaks gently. "This is your chance to do something for yourself, without shame, without fear." Slowly, they both lie down on the bed together. As they lie in bed, wrapped in the sheets, Nancy opens up further. She tells Leo that she doesn't talk much to her son and daughter anymore. She finds them boring and distant. Then she curiously asks Leo, "Why do you do this kind of work?" Leo answers calmly, "I'm not ashamed of what I do. This job gives me the chance to truly understand people." He then adds with a small smile, "My mom thinks I work at a petroleum company." Trying to ease her mood, Leo gently steers the conversation toward her late husband. Nancy confesses that he was the only man she was ever in a relationship with, but their physical intimacy was always one-dimensional. "He only made love in one way," she says, "a way I never enjoyed. I wished he would explore more, be playful, be different, but he never did." She then shares a memory from her teenage years. "I once went on a trip to Greece with my parents. We were staying at a hotel and there was this young waiter. I liked him. One night, we sneaked away to meet and even kissed. But someone showed up and we had to leave. The next morning, I left the hotel with my parents. I wish we'd stayed one more day." Leo listens quietly, noticing how emotional she becomes. He leans in and kisses her gently, and the two share a tender moment. A week later, Nancy books a second session. Once again, they meet in the same hotel room. This time, there's no pressure, no awkwardness. Nancy is more comfortable now. She even shows Leo a handwritten list of things she'd like to experience, forms of love she's never felt before. Leo looks at the list and tells her, "These things can't all happen in one session." "That's okay," Nancy smiles. "Let's start with the first one." Just then, Nancy's phone rings. It's her daughter, asking for her opinion on something. But Nancy doesn't want to talk to her. She feels agitated, emotionally unsettled. She walks back over to Leo and says she's worried she won't be able to please him. Leo plays calming music, takes her hand, and gently begins to dance with her. Then he gives her a slow, relaxing massage. The comfort, the connection, it all begins to pull Nancy toward him. She asks him to take off his shirt. Leo obliges. As Nancy touches his bare chest, emotions overwhelm her. His young, toned body reminds her how much older she's become, how her skin is no longer the same. She pulls away again, overcome with insecurity. But Leo doesn't back down. He walks her to the mirror and says, "You need to love yourself the way you are. Until you do, no one else can." He teaches her to accept herself, to embrace her age, her body, her desires. Nancy finally feels ready to be intimate with him, but there's still hesitation. To help her feel less alone, Leo begins sharing stories from his work. He tells her about one client who simply likes to hold hands and watch TV, another who only wants to talk, and another who only seeks physical connection. They're all regular clients, he says. Each one of them is different. I never judge them. In fact, I feel honored to know them. Helping them feel good. It means something to me. Nancy teases him. So that you can make more money? Leo smiles and replies gently, it's not just about the money. She sees how passionate and genuine Leo is when he speaks about his work. It touches her deeply. And finally, stirred by a wave of emotion and desire, she surrenders to the moment. After being physically intimate, Nancy once again books Leo for a third session the following week in the same hotel room. They spend quality time together, but something still feels missing for Nancy. She hasn't yet found the deep satisfaction she's been searching for. She yearns to know Leo on a more personal level, but when she tries, Leo hesitates. He tells her he doesn't like people knowing too much about his life. Even the name Leo is a fake one, chosen for his work. Nancy admits that she too gave him a false name in the beginning for privacy, but now she genuinely wants to understand him. She confesses that she found out his real name through unofficial means. This infuriates Leo. He abruptly begins getting dressed and tells her sharply, "Don't ever book me again. I'm not coming back." Nancy, shocked, pleads with him to listen, but Leo's anger only grows. "If you push this," he warns, "I'll find out your real identity too, and I'll tell everyone that a former religious teacher is doing all of this." Nancy is deeply hurt. She never expected him to react like this. She apologizes, explaining that all she wanted was to be closer to him, to maybe become friends. She asks again for his real name. Leo snaps. He rants that he has no interest in being known, that he doesn't want her or anyone to pry into his life. Nancy, trying to stay calm, asks, "If you're afraid of being known, why do you do this job? Why not tell your mother the truth?" Leo's expression changes. After a pause, he shares something raw and painful. Back when he was a student, he once brought a girl home after a party. His mother caught them during an intimate moment. Furious, she kicked him out of the house and told everyone that her son was dead to her. Since then, his relationship with his brother also broke apart, though occasionally they still talk over the phone. From that moment, Leo began working as a call boy. As he reveals all this, he breaks down crying. Nancy listens quietly, visibly affected by his story. She watches as Leo walks out of the room in tears. But then, he comes back. He realizes he left his phone behind. As he searches for it and fails to find it, frustration overwhelms him. He begins throwing things in anger. Eventually, he finds the phone, takes a deep breath, and calmly tells Nancy goodbye before leaving the room. A few days later, Nancy books him again for a fourth session. But this time, she doesn't ask him to come up to the room. Instead, she asks him to meet her at the hotel cafe. Nancy arrives early and waits. While sitting there, a waitress approaches her and recognizes her. "Weren't you my teacher?" the waitress asks. Nancy doesn't recognize the girl, but smiles warmly anyway. She tells the waitress that she's waiting for a friend. Soon, Leo arrives. He looks different, calmer. He orders 2 coffees from the waitress and joins Nancy. She smiles, genuinely happy to see him. "I didn't think you'd come," she says, "but I'm really glad you did." Nancy then apologizes sincerely for trying to dig into his personal life. She admits she crossed a line. "I've even recommended you to some of my friends," she chuckles softly. "Ones who might need you the way I did." Then, in a moment of honesty and vulnerability, Nancy tells Leo her real name. She says, "Because of you, I've begun to feel more confident in myself. I no longer see my body as something to be ashamed of." Nancy smiles softly as she tells Leo how much she's enjoyed meeting him, how it's been the only truly thrilling experience in her entire life. Leo then shares something important. He's finally told his brother the truth about his job. His brother had suspected all along that Leo didn't really work at an oil company, and even after learning the truth, he supported him completely. Just then, the same waitress from earlier arrives with their coffee. Nancy introduces her to Leo. The waitress, recognizing Nancy, says playfully, "You once scolded me and my friends for wearing short skirts to school. You even used some very harsh words." Nancy is taken aback, but then reflects on the memory. She looks at the young woman and sincerely apologizes for her past behavior. Then, in a moment of bold honesty, Nancy tells the waitress that she didn't come here to meet a friend. She came to see Leo, who is a call boy she's been meeting for the past month. Nancy now lives with complete openness. She's no longer concerned about what others think, because she knows she has her own desires, and it's okay to fulfill them. She turns to the waitress and says, "You should listen to yourself too. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life." Later, Nancy and Leo return to the hotel room once more. This time, she's ready. With passion and full confidence, she goes through the list of experiences she had written down. They explore each one with excitement and joy. But even after that, Nancy still doesn't feel fully satisfied. Then something shifts. As she sees Leo standing before her, completely vulnerable, something within her awakens. For the first time, she begins touching herself, slowly, gently, and she experiences a kind of pleasure she never thought possible. Nancy realizes she doesn't need someone else to give her fulfillment. She's capable of finding it on her own. This becomes their final meeting. Nancy looks at Leo with genuine gratitude. "Thank you," she says. He smiles and walks away. Alone in the room, Nancy turns to the mirror. But this time she doesn't look with shame or regret. She stares at her reflection with acceptance and even admiration. She no longer hates her body. She no longer hides from her age. She embraces her desires. She embraces herself. And with that, the movie ends. Friends, have you ever made a decision that went against society but felt deeply right for you? Let us know in the comments. Like this video, share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon so you never miss another movie explanation. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and be kind to yourself.